Imagine, imagine walking into a ridiculously high-end Michelin star restaurant, right?
Okay, I'm picturing it.
You sit down, the ambiance is just absolutely perfect, the crystal glasses are gleaming, and, the waiter hands you the menu. But instead of this massive, overwhelming list of global delicacies, the menu just has, like, 3 simple items.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then the waiter leans in and says, that will be $500, and by the way, we are actively forbidding you from ordering dessert.
No dessert at all.
None. They tell you, we won't even let you look at the dessert cart. If you try to go to the kitchen to find a pastry, security will literally escort you back to your seat.
And the crazy thing is, instead of being outraged, you are completely thrilled.
Exactly.
You just happily hand over your credit card because, well, your own sweet tooth is completely out of control.
Right. You are paying top dollar, not for what they offer, but for what they are explicitly keeping away from you.
Yeah, you're paying for boundaries.
You're paying for someone else to build a physical barrier against your own worst habits. So, welcome to the deep dive. Today, we are unpacking a single absolutely fascinating article about the resurrection of a beloved 1980s tech titan, Commodore.
The legendary Commodore.
The very same. And we are looking at their completely unexpected new product, which is a $500 flip phone called the Callback 8020. Our mission today is to explore this intersection of tech nostalgia, the massive modern digital detox movement, and what the perfect middle ground between a smart and a dumb device actually looks like for you today.
Because it is a really delicate balance to strike, The modern world kind of requires a baseline level of connectivity.
Yeah, you literally can't function without it sometimes.
Exactly. I mean, you need to scan a QR code just to park your car now. You need 2-factor authentication for your bank, group text for your family. So the question is, how do you maintain access to those absolute necessities without being, entirely consumed by the device providing them?
Okay, let's unpack this. Because the irony here is just, it's too rich to ignore.
Oh, totally.
The company responsible for the Commodore 64, which, by the way, was the best-selling desktop computer of all time.
Yeah.
The machine that quite literally brought computing technology out of the lab and into the mainstream living room in 1982, is now making headlines by intentionally stripping tech away.
Right. They were the ultimate architects of the digital age.
Exactly. They taught an entire generation to stare at a glowing screen, and now they're the ones selling the emergency brake.
What's fascinating here is how this frames a massive sociological shift. If you look back at the trajectory of consumer tech over the last, say, 20 years, hardware manufacturers have universally competed on what a device could do.
Yeah, an arms race.
A total arms race. It was all about more features, more processing speed, endless scroll, constant connectivity. But the Commodore Callback 8020 is completely flipping the script. It's competing and charging a huge premium based on what it explicitly prevents you from doing.
And when you look at the specs for this thing, they seem, almost contradictory at first glance.
Yeah, they do.
So pre-orders kick off on June 30th at exactly 4:00 a.m. Eastern Time. Early pre-orders are going for $500.
Which is already steep for a flip phone.
Right, and the standard retail price bumps up to $550. And if you are feeling really nostalgic, there's a collector's edition that comes with a 24-karat gold-plated Commodore key for $700.
Wow.
Yeah, and it ships this winter. We are talking about top-tier flagship pricing for a flip phone.
Which naturally forces us to ask what mechanically justifies that price tag. Because underneath that retro nostalgic exterior, they've actually built a really sophisticated piece of hardware.
Yeah.
It runs a custom Linux-based operating system that supports most Android apps.
Okay, I have to stop you there.
Yeah.
Because that was the first thing in the source material that made me totally scratch my head.
Yeah.
How does a phone run Android apps if it isn't an Android phone?
Ah, right. So it uses an emulation layer. Basically, instead of giving you the Google Play Store, which, let's be honest, is designed to constantly recommend new apps and games just to keep you hooked, the OS allows you to sideload or access a heavily curated walled garden of utility apps.
Okay, so just the basics.
Exactly. You can get Spotify, you can get Google Maps, your banking app. The phone has the processing power to run them flawlessly, but it completely strips away the storefront ecosystem that encourages that, like mindless downloading.
Oh, that makes sense. It's providing the engine, but removing all the billboard advertisements along the highway.
That's a great way to put it.
And the hardware specs really support that premium feel, too. It has high-def, lossless audio capabilities. They even include earphones in the box, which nobody does anymore.
Oh, a rare treat these days.
Seriously. And it features a 48-megapixel rear camera with intelligent autofocus, plus a front-facing camera that also autofocuses to keep video calls crystal clear. Add in worldwide network compatibility, and you have the bones of a very capable smartphone.
But, and this is the kicker, those impressive hardware specs only exist to service a remarkably restricted software experience.
Right.
The defining features of the callback 8020 are its dumb restrictions. First off, there is absolutely no artificial intelligence integrated into this device.
Thank goodness.
Right. No smart assistants listening in the background, no generative AI trying to summarize your text messages. And second, web browsing and social media are completely hard-blocked at the OS level.
Yeah, the article specifically notes you cannot access TikTok, Reddit, Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or Microsoft Edge. You literally cannot doom scroll.
It just won't let you.
And here is the detail that absolutely blew my mind. They've disabled the touchscreen by default.
Oh, yes. That is a brilliant design choice.
It only activates when a specific utility app, like a map, absolutely requires it. Otherwise, you navigate the whole thing with the physical keypad.
We really need to pause and look at the behavioral psychology behind that decision. Because the touchscreen wasn't just like a technological advancement. It fundamentally changed how we interact with information.
How so?
Well, think about the gesture of swiping down on a screen. That pull-to-refresh mechanism was engineered specifically to mimic the lever of a casino slot machine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You pull down, there's a slight manufactured delay, and then a totally unpredictable reward appears. It is a textbook dopamine loop. So by physically disabling the touchscreen, Commodore is severing that neurological pathway. They are forcing you to use intentional, clunky button presses.
I love that. You're paying for friction.
Exactly.
And the company also makes a really hard pledge regarding privacy. They promise they will never sell user data. Their marketing slogan captures this entire ethos perfectly. It says, what happens on callback stays on callback. Finally, a phone that minds its own flippin' business.
Flippin' business. I love the pun. But that privacy pledge is crucial to understanding the price tag. Because when you buy a heavily subsidized phone or use a free app, you are the product.
Right. Your data is paying for it.
Yes. Your location data, your browsing habits, your text metadata that is all being harvested and sold to advertisers. The callback 8020 costs $500 because Commodore isn't relying on a secondary revenue stream of brokering your personal life to third parties.
I look at the economics of this, and it feels like spending $100,000 on a state-of-the-art sports car. But the manufacturer permanently welds a speed limiter to the engine, so you literally can't go over 60 miles per hour.
Yeah.
You're paying for the premium parts, the 48-megapixel camera, the lossless audio, but you're also paying for the manufacturer to police your behavior.
The sports car analogy works on a surface level, but I'd actually take it a step further. It's not just a speed limiter. It's like buying a luxury car that actively refuses to drive you to the casino.
Okay, yeah, that's better.
Think about the 48-megapixel camera. On a normal smartphone, you take a high-resolution photo so you can immediately edit it, throw a filter on it, and broadcast it to Instagram to harvest likes.
But on the callback, you can't access Instagram. You can't even access Facebook.
Exactly, which completely changes the relationship you have with the camera.
Because no one else is going to see it right away.
Right. The premium hardware allows you to capture a beautiful, high-quality memory of your family. But because you can't broadcast it, the photo returns to being a personal archival memory rather than, a piece of internet performance art. You are buying a moat around your attention.
That's fascinating. And you look at these specs that the active blocking of TikTok, the hard pledge not to sell data, the intentional disabling of the touchscreen, and it feels, deeply personal.
It does.
Like big publicly traded tech conglomerates do not build phones that refuse to collect data.
No, they definitely don't.
Humans who are tired of being tracked do, which perfectly explains the bizarre story of the guy who actually bought this company and basically willed this phone into existence.
Oh, man. The history of the Commodore brand is just a wild ride of extreme highs and disastrous lows.
It really is. So let's look at Commodore version 1.0, the absolute giant of the 80s home computing market.
They were everywhere.
Everywhere.
Yeah.
But they filed for bankruptcy and were liquidated way back in 1994. They had the world in the palm of their hand. and then they completely collapsed.
And their collapse is a classic case study in technological hubris.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They relied way too heavily on their past successes, they totally mismanaged their engineering talent, and they completely failed to see the existential threat of IBM PC clones. They really thought they owned the home market, but cheaper, more modular PCs simply ate their lunch.
Wow. So after 1994, the rights to the Commodore name just sort of bounced around from company to company for decades, mostly appearing on cheap, licensed, generic electronics.
Just cashing in on the name.
Right. But then, in early 2025, the brand was acquired by a man named Christian Perry Fractic Simpson.
The YouTuber.
Yep, he's a YouTube creator who built a massive audience focusing on retro tech and vintage computing. He dropped a video revealing he bought the rights for what he called a low seven-figure sum, styled himself as the acting CEO, and actually brought original ex-Commodore engineers back on board.
Which is incredible. And they started their relaunch by, playing the nostalgic hits. Late last year, they released the Commodore 64 Ultimate and the Commodore 64X PC.
Oh, those were cool.
Yeah, they were essentially modern, capable mini PCs housed inside the iconic, chunky, beige form factor of the original C64 keyboard. It was pure catnip for retro enthusiasts.
But the flip phone is a massive departure from desktop computing.
A total left turn.
According to a note on their website, the callback 8020 wasn't born in a boardroom. It happened when Simpson became a father.
Right.
He had this stark realization that he was sitting in his living room holding his newborn baby, and instead of looking at his child, he was just endlessly scrolling his smartphone. The physical device was a literal barrier between him and his family.
A really common story these days, sadly.
So common. So he went out and bought a basic cheap flip phone to force himself to disconnect.
He basically used himself as a human guinea pig. And he realized that, well, the cheap flip phone successfully stopped the doom scrolling, sure. But the camera was terrible. He couldn't play his high-quality music files, and sending a quick group text to his family was just agonizingly slow.
Getting a cramp just typing hello with T9.
Exactly.
He wrote that the callback was born from his team asking what the perfect middle ground between dumb and smart actually looks like.
Yeah.
But I have to be honest, reading this source material, I remain a little skeptical.
Why is that?
Well, what does this all actually mean? We have a YouTube creator who dropped millions of dollars on a nostalgia brand because he personally wanted to spend less time on his phone as a new dad.
Right.
Is this actually a viable consumer tech product? Or is this just a very expensive, highly personal vanity project that he's trying to sell to the rest of us just to recoup his investment?
That is such a fair point, and it raises an important question about how product innovation actually happens in the modern era.
Yeah.
Because it's really easy to look at a YouTuber buying a tech brand and dismiss it as a vanity project. But historically, some of the most impactful consumer technologies have stemmed from highly personal pain points that massive corporate focus groups completely missed.
Interesting.
Simpson's personal realization about fatherhood and his own screen time addiction, that isn't an isolated incident. It's a perfect microcosm of a much larger global societal shift. He just happened to have a low seven-figure sum and a team of hardware engineers to build his own bespoke solution.
Huh. So he built the lifeboat he needed, and now he's offering seats to everyone else.
Precisely.
And it turns out there are a lot of people looking for a lifeboat right now. Simpson's personal revelation isn't happening in a vacuum. The callback is entering a market that is suddenly exploding with consumers who are completely desperate to disconnect.
We are witnessing a genuine dumb phone renaissance. And what is truly surprising is the demographics driving it.
It's not who you'd expect.
Not at all. You have Gen Z consumers who are actively seeking out a digital detox. I mean, these are young adults who have grown up entirely within the attention economy. They have literally never known a world without algorithmic feeds, and they are psychologically exhausted by it.
It's burnout.
Total burnout. And then, on the other end of the spectrum, you have older users who are chasing nostalgia, just yearning for the simpler, more deliberate communication style of early mobile tech.
And the broader market is absolutely responding to this exhaustion. The callback 8020 isn't the only player in town anymore.
No, not by a long shot.
We're seeing the return of the Motorola Razr, which was the absolute status symbol phone 20 years ago, though. I mean, it's back as a folding smartphone now. You've got the Cat S22, which sticks closer to the rugged flip phone style and deliberately steers clear of modern social apps.
Yeah, that one is built like a tank.
Oh, it really is.
Yeah.
And then there's the Light Phone line, which uses an e-ink display, kind of like an e-reader.
Yeah, I've seen those.
And it is explicitly designed to be used as little as humanly possible.
And if you are listening to this and balking at the idea of dropping $500 on a Commodore flip phone, the extreme budget end of this minimalist market is thriving too.
Oh, we big time.
You can pick up a Nokia 105 for just $20.
20 bucks. I mean, you could buy 25 Nokia 105s for the price of one early pre-order callback.
Yeah, but the Nokia strips everything down to the absolute bare minimum. Calls, SMS texts, a built-in FM radio, and classic games like Snake.
Which, I really have to point out, the $500 callback 8020 also features an FM radio and Snake.
Oh, of course it does.
So whether you spend $20 or $500, playing Snake on a tiny screen just remains the undisputed pinnacle of mobile gaming.
It is the great equalizer of technology.
Really.
But, there is hard peer-reviewed science backing up this shift toward minimalism. It's not just a passing aesthetic trend driven by hipsters.
What's the science say?
Well, the source article highlights a Stanford University study that looked closely at users who switched from fully featured smartphones to minimal devices. The researchers found that not only did these users significantly reduce the raw amount of time they spent looking at screens, which is obvious, but more importantly, they reported feeling a greater sense of agency over their daily lives.
Agency. Man, that is such a powerful, loaded word in this context.
It really is.
And here's where it gets really interesting for you listening right now. Think about that Stanford study and think about your own day-to-day life. How often do you feel like you've lost your agency to the device sitting in your pocket right now?
It happens more than we realize.
It does. Think about the phenomenon of phantom vibration syndrome, where your brain literally tricks you into feeling your phone buzz because it is so desperate for an alert.
I get that all the time.
Me too. Or think about that deeply unsettling muscle memory, where you unlock your phone, open an app, close it, and then instantly open it again without even consciously making the decision to do so.
It's like you're on autopilot.
Exactly. We are conditioned to think of our smartphones as neutral tools that serve us. But when an algorithm is feeding you endless, frictionless content to keep your eyeballs locked on a screen at 1 a.m., how often does it feel like the phone is actually using you?
And if we connect this back to the bigger picture, this entire dumb phone renaissance, whether you are opting for a $20 Nokia or a $500 Commodore, is a direct physical rebellion against the attention economy.
A rebellion, I like that.
That's what it is. For over a decade, human attention has been the primary product that tech giants sell to advertisers. These devices and their software ecosystems were engineered by thousands of the smartest behavioral psychologists and engineers on Earth, specifically to hijack our psychological vulnerabilities.
Like the endless scroll, the red notification badges, the auto-playing videos.
All of it. All designed to steal your agency. So the desire for a device with no web browser, no TikTok, no endless feeds, it's not ludism.
Right. They aren't hating technology itself.
Exactly. It's not about hating technology. It's about recognizing a hostile psychological environment and simply choosing to step out of it. It's about taking the power back. The device acts as a physical boundary against an invisible algorithmic force.
Wow. It's just incredible to step back and look at the whole trajectory we've covered today.
It's been a journey.
We've traced the incredible journey of Commodore, starting from dominating the 1980s desktop market and pushing society headfirst into the digital age to completely collapsing due to their own hubris, and then being resurrected decades later by a retro tech YouTuber who just wanted to be more present for his kid.
And now they are offering a $500 escape hatch from the very modern internet they helped build.
They've really come full circle.
They really have.
It reminds us that whether you decide you want the lossless audio and the 48-megapixel camera of the gold-plated callback 8020, or you just want a $20 Nokia to text your friends and play Snake on the train, you have the ultimate power to curate your own digital diet. You do not have to accept the default settings that Silicon Valley hands you. You can reclaim your agency.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating trajectory to consider for the future.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because we are now seeing a very real, highly motivated segment of consumers willing to pay a $500 premium for a device engineered specifically not to do things.
Right.
It is a literal luxury tax on disconnection. So, if true luxury in the 21st century is defined by the ability to remain offline, will unsmarting the rest of our lives become the ultimate societal status symbol of the future?
That's a wild thought.
Think about it. We've spent the last decade putting Wi-Fi into our refrigerators, our thermostats, and our cars. Will having a definitively dumb home, a mechanically isolated car, and a completely offline workplace become the ultimate flex for the upper class?
It really makes you wonder, We might be heading straight back to that Michelin star restaurant, staring at that tiny, heavily restricted menu, and just happily paying an absolute fortune just to be told what we can't have. Thanks for taking this deep dive with us.